Sports Snippets, Dennis Sullivan here. It is Sunday, the 7th of March. How in the world are you doing? Happy Sunday to you. Hope all's going well. Here to talk about the Western Conference in the NBA as we are now in this nice little All-Star break weekend. Hanging out, checking out the All-Star game, getting ready for all that. Enjoying that, and now, as I did last weekend with the Eastern Conference, going to spend some time and talk about the Western Conference in the NBA, and pointing out some teams here that on the Snippets board, mainly the Jazz and the Phoenix Suns, that I want to make special mention of. But I took some notes on some other teams, and one thing I will say to get things started, guys, is that I didn't expect to say this, but the Western Conference is very much like the Eastern Conference in that you can make the case for like 5 or 6 teams, maybe even 7 teams, to make it to the NBA Finals, legitimately make it to the NBA Finals, guys. So keep that in mind. I mean, this is just something to watch as it progresses throughout the season. You got a team like the Denver Nuggets who've gone far in the playoffs the last few years, sitting at a 6 seed right now, for example, if the season were to end today. If you do like the content, by the way, of this particular video, go ahead, hit that like button. I know you can do it. Also, go ahead, subscribe to Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. So let's get right into it, guys. I put the Jazz here first because, of course, they have the best record in the Western Conference. Now, much of this video will be talking about teams other than the defending champion Lakers, who are basically favored again. But as I look at the standings right now, the Lakers are having some tough times moving on and moving forward without their very talented all-world player in Anthony Davis. So it's LeBron and everyone else. The Lakers are sitting at 24-13 here as we head into the break. But think about it, guys. Lakers, I mean, at this point last year, they were not 24-13. They had a better record than that. I can pretty much assure you of that. Now, they are sitting in the 3rd spot, are the Lakers. Jazz and Suns, points 1 and 2 on the Snippets board, are heading off the Eastern Conference in terms of records. The Jazz are ahead of everyone. Still haven't even lost 10 games yet. They're at 27-9. This is a really good team, are the Jazz, led by Donovan Mitchell's about 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Jordan Clarkson, about 18 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal. Mr. Mike Conley, great pickup for the Jazz, 16 points, 6 assists, averaging about a steal and a half and 4 rebounds a game. The big story, and you got Bogdanovich too. Bojan Bogdanovich, 16 points, 4 rebounds off the bench. Great shooter is Bogdanovich. Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is what pulls and ties this whole team together, guys. Gobert, he's at 14 points. You might be saying, okay, what's so big about that? A little over 14 points. 13 rebounds a game and almost 3 blocks a game. He is like single-handedly dominating the inside for the Utah Jazz. He's making a huge, huge impact. You could technically, he's not going to win MVP, I'm pretty sure, guys, but you can make a case for him as MVP. I'm very serious about that. The bench is pretty good for the Jazz. Joe Ingles, Royce O'Neal, you have the veteran Derek Favors coming off the bench. So Utah is just, they're going to be right there. I have them pretty much in the Western Conference Finals. I'd be surprised if that doesn't happen. The Suns, you're looking at the big addition of Chris Paul. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, over a steal a game. When you talk Suns, you're talking one guy, though, leading the way, Devin Booker. Huge scoring guard is Devin Booker, 25 points a game, 4.5 assists and a steal. Devin Booker is just, I mean, he takes games over with his scoring ability. DeAndre Ayton's, now he's pulling it together for the Suns. 14.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, over a block a game. So if you look at Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns, they both are able to get tons of scoring from the perimeter while having that main guy inside holding it down interior to the interior, holding that down to let these other guys operate and do their scoring. Dario Saric, he's been on and off injured, it seems. I've had him in fantasy basketball, actually. He's a nice player, 11.5 points, 4 rebounds. They also have Cameron Johnson and Jay Crowder, played for the Heat last year, that are scoring double figures off the bench. So the Suns are getting a fair amount of scoring off their bench too. They're going to be tough. One of these two, both these teams really, Jazz and Suns, they could finish 1 and 2. Lakers could be looking at a 3rd seed, guys. We got to see how far they fall, because right now, Lakers actually only a half a game ahead of the Clippers. Because you got Lakers 24-13, Clippers 24-14, Portland's right behind them 21-14, Nuggets 21-15. So Anthony Davis is going to be out for another 3 weeks or more, guys. You gotta factor this in. How far are the Lakers going to fall? I'm going to say this. Perhaps the main point I'm going to make in this video, the Clippers. Guys, the LA Clippers are deep, deep, deep. Not only do you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, arguably your best 1-2 punch in the West, you have a host of other good players. Lou Williams at 12 points, 4 assists. Marcus Morris is at 12 points a game. Then check out some of these names. Serge Ibaka, still very good, very effective. Batum coming off the bench. I think he starts a little bit too sometimes for them. Reggie Jackson, not the home run hitting baseball player of years back. No, the guard. He's really good. Patrick Beverly is a really good guard coming off your bench. He's a capable starter as well. So, I mean, right there, guys, that's 8. Those are 8 pretty big names. I mean, pretty good names, pretty big names for the Clippers. So just kind of keep that in mind when playoffs start. And I wrote down Jazz and Suns because it looks like that's going to be your 1-2 punch. But when it comes to the Clippers, guys, they could easily sneak right in and find themselves in the Western Conference Finals. The rest of the West, I know that rhymes. Portland's always going to be tough because you got the best backcourt in the league. You got Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. That's a great backcourt, guys. Lillard he's at about 30 a game, 29.8 points, 4.3 rebounds, over 8 assists and a steal. CJ McCollum almost 27 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, about a 1.3 steals a game. So that backcourt right there is averaging about 56.5 points a game. Find another backcourt for me that's really that good. Gary Trent Jr. is giving him a little over 15 points a game. Carmelo Anthony, the addition to the Portland Trailblazers, averaging 14 points a game, little over 14, or about 14 a game. Only shooting a little over 41% from the field, but Carmelo found his team in Portland, let's put it that way. Because they're good at one thing, right? Scoring points. Portland can score a lot of points. Enes Kanter, he's played really well. They had Nurkic go down with the injury, so Kanter's filled it. 12 points, 12 rebounds a game. That's huge. So for Portland, I mean, they are a little bit of a sleeper as well. Denver's got the big two in the Joker, Nikola Jokic, who is an MVP candidate at 27 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Guys, he is something else. 27, and he's averaging about over a steal and a half a game. 27, 11, and 9, guys. That's like Russell Westbrook and his prime numbers, guys. That's Russell Westbrook numbers. Jamal Murray averaging 22 points, 4 rebounds, almost 5 assists and a steal. So but those two are as good as anyone. Michael Porter Jr., 14.5 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, and a block. So talk about depth. I mean, Nuggets are now sitting at 6th in the West. To round things out, San Antonio, very quiet team this year. you know, it's far from the days of Tim Duncan. You know, they had some really, really big teams, as you know, championship teams as well. DeMar DeRozan, though, is leading the way, 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Murray's good, 16.7 rebounds. He's at over 5 assists, about a steal and a half. They still have LaMarcus Aldridge, who's very effective still. He's averaging about 14 points, 5 rebounds a game. Dallas, rounding out the top 8, they got to be careful because you have Golden State right there with Dallas. Memphis is right on the outside looking in at 500, 16 and 16. Dallas is like just over 500. You have a big 2 in Luka Doncic. I mean, almost 29 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 9 assists. So you got Doncic's having an amazing year. The Jokic's having an amazing year. So is Damian Lillard's having an amazing year. You could point to either of those 3 off the top of my head as your MVP, point number 4. In the Western Conference, Dallas also has Porzingis at 20 points, 8.5 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr., guys. Tim Hardaway Jr. at 16.5 points a game. So, then we haven't even talked about Golden State Warriors. Right now, if the season ended, though, the Golden State Warriors would be out of the playoffs by about a half a game. They're like right there. I kind of look for Golden State to perhaps sneak into the playoffs. Dallas is good, but can they defend well enough, and are they deep enough? That's a question. San Antonio gets check marks in those 2 areas. They can defend. They seem deep because San Antonio's got like 7 guys in double figures, averaging double figures. Technically 8 when you factor in they had a few with injuries. So San Antonio is really deep. They can play defense. Dallas, they have the star power. I'm not sure if they have quite enough. We'll have to wait and see. Golden State Warriors, I mean, you still have Steph Curry. You still have Draymond Green. Golden State's I have a feeling they're gonna get in, guys. They have Steve Kerr is still the coach. Need I say more? So looking ahead, it's gonna be very interesting. Don't count out the Grizzlies though either. They're at 500, 16 and 16. Oklahoma City Thunder and the New Orleans Pelicans are on the outside looking in at 15 and 21. I don't think either of those teams make the playoffs though. Looking ahead, I think you got, really guys, legitimately, you got a 6-team race here in the West. Let me double check my notes here. Just threw this to the side. You got Utah, Phoenix, the Lakers, the Clippers, Portland, the Nuggets. Maybe even the Spurs, you know, surprising a few teams. Dallas hanging around. Golden State. I mean, you got a lot. So like the East, the West is very deep. It's not just 1 or 2 teams. I was thinking it's Lakers, Utah. They're on a collision course for the Western Conference Finals. I'm not saying that anymore. That's my big change in opinion regarding the Western Conference. It's going to be very exciting. That's what the league wants, though, right? The league wants as many teams as possible who are going to make a run or who can make a case to go to the NBA Finals. So for now, this is Dennis Sullivan saying, I will see you. Yes, you. Next time, go ahead, hit that like button. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.